from yards.
Well, our troubleshooter Mel Hanks has been on the trail of the lost pets, and he says that in one case that he studied, the dog ended up at a licensed kennel that supplies laboratories.
Meet Buffy, a one-year-old golden retriever who lounges in her backyard in Salem in North Arkansas. But life wasn't always so easy for her. What happened has her owner so worried that she didn't want to be identified on camera.
She disappeared from my property. She was home one morning, and then that evening she didn't come home.
Someone had stolen Buffy. Acting on a tip, the woman drove 40 miles away to a dog kennel near the town of Hardy, a place licensed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which sells animals for laboratory research. As the woman was driving, she spotted a truck coming to the kennel.
And in the truck, we saw, my son saw Buffy's nose sticking out of the truck.
Kennel owners say the dog the woman saw may not actually have been Buffy, but the woman says that's hogwash.
Well, she has white on the front of her, and she responded to her name. And it's just like you know your child.
But the woman had to pay the kennel owner $15 to get her own dog back. The man driving the truck has been charged in the case. He reportedly is one of the kennel's main suppliers of animals. Lisa Schultz lost her family pet in January. She says she, too, has been to the kennel to look for her dog.
Well, I've been to the place, and I've looked for my dog, and I honestly can say I left there in tears. There were over 250 dogs there, ready to be taken to sell.
Kennels like this one obtain a Class B license from the USDA to provide animals for laboratory research. The USDA calls them bunchers. These pictures inside the kennels were taken by an animal rights group. Hundreds of dogs and cats are here at any given time. But are some of these animals stolen pets?
When I heard that there was bunchers, I got sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe that would happen.
Kennel operators say they would never knowingly buy stolen dogs or cats, but they don't like TV cameras around. As we photographed the kennels from a public roadway, a man identified as a kennel employee drove up.
Get that off me.
As we continued to photograph, the man pulled out a 12-gauge shotgun and had to be persuaded by the kennel owner's wife to put the weapon away.
Teddy, get in the truck. Is Cece here?
No.
Y'all just go on now. There's nothing wrong here. Just get in the truck, y'all.
Then the employee got in his truck and tried to run down photographer Phil Pennington.
You better keep that off me.
Meanwhile, the main witness in the dog theft case continues to relax with her friends the geese at home. Tomorrow, in part 3 of our investigation, we'll take you to another place where people don't like pictures. A flea market in Missouri, where the bunchers buy many of their animals. Mel Hanks, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
A couple of key points we need to make tonight. The wife of the kennel owner told Eyewitness News that her husband no longer does business with the supplier, who apparently had Buffy in the back of his truck. At least she says until the criminal matter is cleared up. The charge is a misdemeanor. The owner himself was said not to be present when we took those pictures and has not returned subsequent phone calls from Eyewitness News.
As always, your thoughts on this story and any other are welcome on our feedback line. The number is 1-800-235-KARK. Emotions run high on this issue, as evidenced by the calls we received late last night and early this morning. Here's a sample of what you are telling us.
These people are caught. They ought to be given the same kind of punishment as drug dealers and as kidnappers, because a lot of elderly people, this is all they have is a dog or a cat, a pet. And when you take that from them, it is just like losing a loved one.
I think it's a very cruel reality, but I'm certainly glad it's brought to our attention. Pets play a very large role in people's lives, and perhaps through these segments and segments like them, it can help people become more aware of the problem and put an end to this atrocity.
I think these people who do this sort of thing are just the scum of the earth. They're in the same category as puppy farmers.
I live in Conway, Arkansas, and I'm not surprised at what I've seen on the news. And I guarantee you I'll kill somebody that tries to steal my pet.
I think the lab people need to be prosecuted. They know without a shadow of a doubt that they're buying people's pets. And if you cut off the demand, then there's no need for a supply.
And I think these people that treat these dogs and animals like that, we should use them for research after we catch them.
Laboratory in Little Rock.
We are still receiving an incredible number of calls concerning Mel's reports. Our feedback line has recorded literally hundreds of your responses, and we know many of you have simply not been able to get through. Here's a sample of more of what you have been saying.
I believe they ought to pin those people up just like they do the dogs. Treat them the same way they treat the dogs. Thank you.
I think it's a sad situation. People have to go out and steal other people's pets. I have 4 dogs of my own and a couple of cats, and I mean, I would be heartbroken if one of my animals came up missing, and I'm afraid I'd go after them.
And I just think it's a crying shame that it takes actual film footage for anybody to get off their butts and do something about it. And these people know that these dogs are stolen, because you can tell by the way they look. I mean, the brush, nice and neat. And I'm just glad somebody's finally doing something about it, because it's a crying shame.
And I'm 11 years old, and I just wanted to say that all those people who take others' pets may be hurting some children, because it would hurt me and my brother if someone was to take our dog, because we love him.
I am totally disgusted about the fact that people are harming these precious little animals. Where are their hearts? I feel that people that are doing these things should be punished. And I'm not talking about a couple of months. I'm talking about hard times.
A blanket on the bed and break in that fire.
Leslie Basham for Landers. Our deal with any other dealers. What have you got to lose? Landers, where character and reputation still make the difference.
Channel 4 troubleshooter Mel Hanks joins me on the next Geraldo.
Eyewitness News has obtained 2 family photographs taken last September, a few days after little Stephen Walters suffered a black eye. 5 months later, Stephen would be dead. The child and his brothers were visiting their mother, who 4 years earlier had given up custody of the children.
Him and his brothers all said that he was running through the house and fell on a toy.
Now, Debbie Kershaw has decided to go public, regretting that she did not fight harder for her son.
He had bruises, but I laid it off on being a little boy. You know, running, he'd fall. And he cried when he had to go home when he was at my house.
These pictures of Stephen were taken while the children were visiting their mother last July 4th, playing baseball at a park in Lonoke County, a child that neighbors say was abused over a period of time. Within 2 months, Stephen would have his black eye. 3 months after that, sources say he was black from his waist to his feet. Last month, a neighbor of the father and stepmother in Searcy said she had called White County Human Services warning officials about the black eye.
I called on a Monday morning, and they came out Thursday when the boys weren't there. And
so it took them 4 days to respond?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened as a result of their coming out? Anything?
They never came back.
While the father and stepmother are in jail charged in Stephen's death, State Human Services is investigating its White County office. A report is expected later this week. Meanwhile, Mrs. Kershaw is trying to regain custody of her other 2 sons, who were placed in foster homes after the father's arrest. And she wishes things could have been different.
Yeah, there is a lot of things I would do different. One is I wouldn't have listened to my sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law. And 2, I would have fought harder to get them back. And I'm going to continue fighting.
And she remembers being told by Children's Hospital of her son's fatal blow to the back of the head.
Then I got really mad. And scared. And I want to know why.
Mel Hanks, Channel 4 Eyewitness News in Lonoke County.
That gives you 2%. Get the GE Rewards MasterCard. Call 1-800-GE-REWARD now for an application. 1-800-GE-REWARD.
He's got a reputation for tough reporting that makes some people a little nervous. But Channel 4 troubleshooter Mel Hanks knows that to do his job, sometimes he has to make people uncomfortable. That's why when crimes go unsolved, when corruption is uncovered, when breaking news happens, Arkansas turns to Mel Hanks and the Channel 4 Eyewitness News team for in-depth investigative reporting. Because at Channel 4, we know good, hard journalism isn't about making friends. It's about making a difference.